Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing great at home. Today I'm bringing you unit number 4. We're going to start today, which is called encounters. So, an encounter is a unexpected or a casual meeting with someone, right? So that is an encounter. So, for the first part, we're going to be talking about encounters at taxis. Okay, so we're going to be talking specifically about taxis and vocabulary related to taxis or cabs, right? Cabs is another word for taxi. So let's try to think about these questions. How often do you use taxis in your own city, and what do you use them for? So try to think how often. Is it once or twice a week, or maybe more than that? Or maybe less, once a month, once a year, right? Uh, don't forget that we don't only have these types of cabs, right? Like the yellow cabs, they're more popular ones. We also have more modern types of taxi services like Uber, right? Or Cabify or Didi as well, right? Those are more modern types of taxis, but they are taxis as well, right? So, what do you use them for? Is it for a special occasion? What about when you're traveling? So if you travel to another place, would you use a cab or a taxi service? When was the last trip by taxi that you made? And where did you go? Try to remember that. Now, I know that taxis are not the most common means of transport for Chilean people, right? Because taxis might be very expensive, right? Sometimes they are not very honest with how much money they charge you, and sometimes they charge more, right? Especially with tourists, right? Um, we know that some of the time some drivers would charge tourists a lot more than they usually do to Chilean people, right? So there are some trust issues maybe, but they also have positive things, right? Try to think about positive aspects of cabs. They are quicker or faster in some cases when you need to go to a place very fast if you're late, right? And they are also very comfortable, a lot more than buses, for example, or the metro. If you're traveling with a lot of maybe baggage, or you have bags, or a baby and kids or whatever, right? Um, Cabs are usually more comfortable. Very good. Now, read the questions that we have here and try to match the highlighted expressions in each question with the pictures. So if you pay attention to the pictures, we have some letters, one over here, A, B, C, D, E, and F. So the first question says, when was the last time you phoned for a taxi or got a taxi at a taxi rank? So the taxi rank is the place where you can get a taxi. So the taxi rank is letter E, right? Very good. How much is the minimum fare for a taxi in your city? How much is the minimum fare? Where can you see the fare? Letter B, right? Very good. That's the fare. How much money you have to pay at the end of your trip. Number 3, what's the maximum number of passengers a taxi can usually take? Passengers would be letter D, right? We have a woman, I think, or maybe a boy, I don't know. And he's getting on the cab, right? Do taxis in your city always use a meter? What about in other cities, you know? So we have a meter or a taximeter, right? That's the same concept. And we have it here, right? Letter A. It has to be visible for all passengers to know the amount of money you will have to pay, right? And the distance you have traveled so far, right? So that the meter or the taximeter has to be visible for everyone to see it, right? 5. Do you usually ask the driver to keep the change? The change, letter F, right? So, for example, if the fare is $13 and you paid with 20, your change is 7. Do you allow the driver to keep the change? 6. Do you ever ask for a receipt at the end of a journey? So the receipt is, of course, letter C, right? The receipt confirms that you have paid for the service, right? So you are a real customer. So in case you maybe lost something inside the taxi, or maybe if you have complaints about the service, you will have to show your receipt so you can prove that you are the one who received the service and you actually paid for that, right? Very good. Now try to answer those questions and try to use the vocabulary that we have studied. So, for example, when was the last time you phoned for a taxi or got a taxi at a taxi rank? Try to think about taxi ranks in your city, right? If you are from Valparaiso, one of the most common ones is outside the bus station, right? The terminal. We have a taxi rank because there are a lot of taxis waiting for passengers to arrive, right? So try to think about your answers for these questions. Now, let's continue. We're going to do now a listening activity. This is called Two Journeys. Two Journeys. So listen to Tony's conversation with two passengers. This is Tony. He is a taxi driver in Vancouver, Canada, right? So he has two passengers. First Nicola and then Dan. First exercise, who wants to go to a bank, who wants to go to a hotel, and who wants to go to the airport? You can write N or D as it corresponds, and then you can identify who asked Tony for the receipt, who asked him to wait, or who asked him how much the journey will cost, right? And then, with the same listening, try to identify if these statements are true or false. So number 1 says, it's Nicola's first time in Canada. She wants to go to a hotel. Dan goes to the bank to get some money. He's going on a business trip and it costs more than $30 from the bank to the airport. So we're going to do both activities with the same listening. Remember that if you need to listen again, you can always pause the video and go back as many times as you need it. All right?
Track 32.
1.
Hi, how much is it to the city centre?
That depends on the traffic. It's usually about $35.
Okay, can I put my case in the back?
I'll do that for you. So, where are we headed?
Can you take me to the Park Inn?
The Park Inn on Broadway, right?
Yes, that's the one.
All right. So, is this your first time in Canada?
Well, no. I came here with my parents, like 15 years ago, but I don't remember much.
Right. So, what brings you back here? Here we are, the Park Inn.
Oh, thanks. How much is it?
$31.50, please.
Just make it $35.
Thanks very much. And here's your change, $15.
Okay, thanks.
Now, let's get your case. Two.
Hello. The Royal Bank on House Street, please.
Okay. Okay, that'll be $8.50.
Actually, could you wait here for 5 minutes? I just have to get some papers.
Well, okay, but can you pay me first?
Of course. Here's 10. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks for waiting. Okay, I'd like to go to the airport, please.
Okay. Which terminal?
Domestic, please.
All right, the domestic terminal. So, you're going somewhere on business, right?
Yeah, I've got some meetings in Calgary.
So, do you work for the bank? Okay, that's $35.75.
And can I have a receipt, please?
Sure. There you are. Have a safe trip now.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, so let's check your answers. So, who wants to go to a bank? Nicola or Dan? Dan, right? Very good. Who wants to go to a hotel? Nicola, right? And then who wants to go to the airport? That's Dan. Very good. Who asks Tony for a receipt? Dan. Very good. Who asks Tony to wait? Dan as well. And who asks Tony how much the journey will cost? That's Nicola, right? Very good. Now, if you need to listen again, you can go back the video and play the recording, right? So we're going to check your answers for exercise 2. Now, it's Nicola's first time in Canada. True or false? False, right? She went there with her parents around 15 years ago. She wants to go to a hotel. We said that it was true, right? True, to the Park Inn hotel. Dan goes to the bank to get some money. False, right? He goes to the bank, but he goes to get some papers, right? Not money, papers. He's going on a business trip. True, right? And it costs more than $30 from the bank to the airport. That's true as well. Very good. Now, think about this question. Do you ever chat with people you meet in these situations? And what do you talk about? So, for example, if you're going on a taxi, do you chat with the driver? And what do you talk about? Family? Work? University? Politics? The weather, maybe? Right, that's a very common one. The news, maybe? What about a plane? If you travel alone, do you chat with other passengers on a plane or on a bus or a train? Think about that. Good. Now, the last activity, it's a matching. So this is vocabulary for you to get a taxi, right? Getting a taxi. So we have expressions that we can use at the beginning or start of a journey, right? Before the journey starts, and one that you can use at the end. So for the start, you can say how much is it to, and then the place, in this case, to the city center. That's for you to have an idea of how much money you will have to pay at the end. And maybe to be able to see if you have enough money or not, right? Then we have the question, can you take me to the parking, or can you take me to the hospital, or can you take me to the city center? I like to go to the airport, please, right? I like to go there, please. Can I put my case in the back? Important question if you're Chilean, right? Because sometimes drivers, they refuse to use their the back of their seat, right? So you maybe ask this first. And then we have questions for, expressions for the end of a journey. Like, could you wait here for 5 minutes if you want to make another short trip, right? How much is it at the end? Just make it 35. So for example, if the fare is $33, you can say, oh, make it 35, and then you can give a tip to the driver, right? A tip. And can I have a receipt, please? Now, pause the video and try to match the questions to the corresponding answers in each case. So 1 to 4, match them with A to D, and then 5 to 8 with E to H, right? So pause the video and do the exercise. Are you ready to check? So let's see. Number 1 says, how much is it to the city center? It's usually about $30 or $35, right? So you give an estimation of how much money you think it would be, right? It's usually about 30 or 35. Can you take me to the Park Inn? The Park Inn on Broadway, right? Because maybe there's more than one Park Inn, so you want to make sure that you're driving the person to the correct place. I like to go to the airport, please. Okay, which terminal? Can I put my case in the back? I'll do that for you. So that is what the driver says, right? Could you wait here for 5 minutes? Well, okay, but can you pay me first, right? So the driver has to make sure you're not going to leave them without paying. How much is it? $31.50, right? Please. Just make it $35. Sure. No, I'm sorry. Thanks very much. And here's your change, $15. So probably she paid with 50, right? And then, can I have a receipt, please? Sure. Here you are. Very good. If you want to practice some conversations, you can go at the end and have a look at these activities, right? So it says, you're going to take a taxi. Work alone and think about these questions. Where are you? Where do you want to go? What's the reason for your journey? What will you chat about with the driver, right? And then you can take turns maybe with someone, right? If you want to practice to be the passenger and the taxi driver, or you can have conversations on your own, right? We've learned during this quarantine to talk on our own, right? So maybe you can practice as well. If you have any questions, of course, you can always ask me. So here we have some examples of questions, right? How much is it to Broad Street? Usually about $6. Okay, can you take me to the OSP building, please? And then you can maybe continue this same conversation. All right? So that is the end for today. As always, if you have any questions, you can write me back, and I will see you very, very soon. So take care. Bye-bye.